among Canadian receivers in the league. 11th year guy, approaching 6,500 career yards.
Mike O'Shea watching over this club that he has guided to so much success in recent history and trying to find a way back into the win column here on the road. 0-2 at home to start the season. Very uncharacteristic. And it is Scott Milanovich on the other side for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as he has got plenty of experience. Of course, the Canadian Football League said he was extremely proud of how the Tiger Cats approach practice coming out of the bye week this week. And under Scott Milanovich, they are 4-1 off of the bye and 14-5 off the bye since the start of 2018. As we round out week 5 in the Canadian Football League here from Hamilton on Made in the Hammer night that Winnipeg would love to spoil. Caught at the 20, and Trey Babel off and running right away to the 43-yard line, as out comes Zach Collaros, who decided to stay and hang out with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers instead of going to some function on Friday night. We'll get to that later.
Yes, honored guest Zach Collaros. Started his career obviously as a Toronto Argonaut, but where he really broke out, first became a starter, was as a Hamilton Tiger Cat. It's always special when he returns to the Hamilton Stadium against his former team.
As they'll play 1st and 10. Collaros underneath and intercepted on the very first play of the ball game. Not what the Bombers needed offensively to get things going. It's Destin Talbert who flew down from his boundary halfback position.
Well, Destin Talbert reading Zach Collaros' mail on this one. Any pressure is completely picked up, but the ball comes out quick. Zach looking for Tim White. Destin Talbert reads it all the way. Great jump on this football. Sticking his foot in the ground, getting out of that back pedal. Destin Talbert, one of the underrated defensive backs in the Canadian Football League, in my opinion.
5 interceptions in his first 2 years in the Canadian Football League. That is first of 2026 as Bo Levi Mitchell in the offense. They don't need any help scoring this year, but they'll get it right away as they complete underneath. And we get a look at Bo Levi Mitchell and his numbers after the completion to Tyson Middlemost.
Yeah, and obviously lots said about the quarterback play in the Canadian Football League thus far this season, particularly amongst the veteran guys. And Bo Levi Mitchell, once again, the headliner. Fantastic start for him here at Scott Milanovich's offense.
14-9 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's got 5 options on this snap as he looks over the middle, double move, caught, and running free through the secondary. DeAndre Smith picking right up where he left off in week 2 against these Blue Bombers, where he had a monster outing as we look at the rest of the Hamilton offense.
And along that offensive line, they made one adjustment since the start of the year. Liam Dobson, the former Blue Bomber in his 2nd year in black and gold, moves from guard to center. A little bit more of that Winnipeg flavor. Take your pick of former Bomber receivers. Carrick Wheatfall, quiet week against BC. No catches, only targeted once. But no doubt he'd like to make an impact against his former squad here today.
Liam Dobson's first start at center came on the road in Winnipeg in week 2. Is blitz on, and Mitchell looks to the end zone. Kenny Lawler hanging up in the air. Did he rip it away? He did, but was he inbounds? They'll say incomplete. And Lawler almost adding the acrobatics for another highlight catch.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The replay center is going to automatically review this.
Incomplete pass, but a great highlight. Kenny Lawler with the break to the ball, and let's see. Watch the feet as he fights for control. Did they touch that end line before he had control of the football? This is a close call. The official is well positioned as you see him in the shot. That's a close call. I actually kind of feel like he had it a split second before he hit the line, and obviously we need it slowed down to even be able to judge that.
If he's got possession and his backside touches inbounds here, there's a foot, there's a, sliding through, but 19 contested catches last season, the most in the CFL for Kenny Lawler. And you can see why. This is going to be an extremely close call. And we have it from our referee, Justin McInnes, with the final decision.
After automatic review by the replay center, the ruling on the field is overturned to a touchdown.
I'll tag another one on for Kenny Lawler.
Just goes up and takes it away from the defender, Jonathan Moxey.
20 touchdowns for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in his time in Manitoba. 14 came last year for these Hamilton Tiger Cats in KL 89's first year in the black and gold, and now he's got 2.
Last game against BC, scored touchdowns on their 2nd, 6th, and 10th offensive plays of the game out of the gate.
Incredible, and it is early and often the MO for the Tiger Cats, especially their passing attack. Collaros hits the turf after 1 pass attempt and 1 interception. We look at the Winnipeg offense.
And taking a look at that offensive line, Micah Mazkua gets the start at left guard. They've been shuffling over the course of the last couple of games due to injuries in that group. And of course, the return to Hamilton Stadium of Tim White, one of the most prolific receivers in Hamilton Tiger Cats history, moved to Winnipeg during the offseason.
Welcome in our American viewers watching on CBS. All you've missed is a Tiger Cats interception and an immediate Tiger Cats touchdown. The 7-0 lead in the early minutes here as Amari Notice into the lineup here through a couple of different injuries, and this is what the rest of the defense looks like around him.
Yeah, Philip Osai in his 2nd season with the Hamilton Tiger Cats played the last 12 games of last season, had 8 sacks in that time. Of course, it is the Tiger Cat debut of veteran middle linebacker Winton McManus. Look for him to inject a little bit of energy into this group. And Jamal Peters, bit of a scary injury last time out. Great to see him back in the lineup with the Cats coming off the bye.
Absolutely. Finally, Winton McManus on the field for the Tiger Cats, and it comes here at home after a bone bruise on his knee, held him out for a while. Is now from behind. Collaros goes down, and it's Julian Howsare.
Veteran leader of this defensive line group, Julian Howsare, is going to come from the right side of your screen. Just really a straight bull rush against Stanley Bryant. Got underneath the veteran a little bit. Couple of well-decorated players doing battle there. Howsare gets the win.
48th career sack for Julian Howsare. 3rd of this season is now. Hamilton gets possession back once again and running free. Spinning away from the attempted tackle, Isaiah Wooden. Well, and also I did the math at the bye week here because the Tiger Cats were away in week number 4. And Bo Levi Mitchell this season is on pace for 48 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. 48 touchdowns is Doug Flutie's single-season CFL record, which if he can hang on to that, we're going to have a heck of a conversation about where the Tiger Cats are down the stretch as Mitchell will look to throw once again. Why not? This time sidearm slings it out complete. Max Mang makes the grab, minimal gain, and a good tackle in the open field by Michael Griffin, the second part of this Winnipeg defense.
And looking at the rest of this group, of course, defensive line led by the great Willie Jefferson. Big career goals for him. We'll talk about that as the game unfolds. Michael Griffin, I think, is one of the most versatile defenders in the Canadian Football League, playing a bigger role this year. And the former Ticat, Jonathan Moxey, playing that corner, doing battle a little bit. We saw him on the opening touchdown going up against Kenny Lawler.
Major Williams as well playing the corner spot. We'll have to deal with Lawler tonight as DeAndre Smith underneath on 2nd down, converts and more, slides down just shy of the 55-yard line. But Moxey said on Bo Levi Mitchell, Dwayne, that he's getting smarter. He's always had the arm, but every single time I see him, he feels like he's smarter. He just picks us apart more.
That's it. That's it. And Bo talked to us about that a little bit in terms of his preparation, his game prep. He said, you're always working hard, but over the course of his career, kind of really fine-tuning what he needs to spend his time on. in terms of being ready to play.
It was intriguing to hear him say, don't do things because it's in a leadership book. Just do it because it fits you. Well, this season it's fit him well, as now he takes a home run shot over the top, and that one nearly a circus grab. Myron Mitchell, defended by the aforementioned Major Williams, knocked away incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Bo taking a shot, putting his faith in his receiver, and this one pretty good coverage, obviously from Major Williams, running step for step with Mitchell down the field. A little bit of a Jose Canseco knockdown there at the end of the play.
Just a 3-man line here for the Bombers. That's all they'll send as Mitchell stares down the coverage to the outside. Lawler come back and couldn't hang on to it. Right in front of his old bench boss, Mike O'Shea, incomplete, and the punting unit will hit the turf for the first time here for Hamilton.
Yeah, Kenny didn't want that one. Level of difficulty wasn't high enough for him along that sideline. Bombers going with the 3-man rush, obviously trying to lock things down underneath.
Trey Vavel looked to make some magic on the road in Hamilton. Always dangerous as a returner. Most outstanding rookie, most outstanding special teams player, but the coverage right there and a flag down. Maybe the coverage a bit too close this time around as Stavros Katsantonis, the starting free safety ball hawk, closest at the end of the play.
Hamilton, number 3, 15-yard penalty, first down Winnipeg.
You get a look at Zach Collaros last week. When you were there on the scene, obviously fumbles were the main issue for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense, but Zach still ripping it up and down the field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, the veteran quarterbacks giving offenses a little bit of an edge in the early going this season. Zach Collaros obviously amongst them, but the Bombers put themselves in a little bit of a hole in the first half of that ball game. You alluded to the turnovers. They've got to try and clean that up. Battled back in the second half, but couldn't quite get it done.
Zach looks to throw, and that one complete. Ontario Wilson makes the grab just shy of the first down marker. In week 2, Collaros, by the way, against the Hamilton Tiger Cats and their defense, had 421 yards and lost. And a 7-yard completion means that Collaros has gone past Kahari Jones in all-time Bombers history.
Yes, 3 guys that played for both the Bombers and the Ticats, by the way. As he passes Kahari Jones, you know, Kahari should get bonus points for having to put up with Milt Stegall all those years in Winnipeg.
Inside, we see Brady Oliveira for the first time and churns those legs for a first down pickup. There's Penny Neufeld right there in the middle of that blocking fray after missing last week's game due to twins being born. Congratulations to the Neufeld family, the 37-year-old tagging a couple more.
Yeah, it means Pat Neufeld, longest serving Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Fake to Oliveira this time. And a quick pitching catch. Destin Talbert right there blocking down on Tim White. His 87th career game. First 83 of them were with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As there's Neufeld, his young boy Eli and girl Rowan being born. Congratulations to them. They made the old man versus zone joke about, you know, now we're outnumbered and all the rest I saw this week, but I think it's a lot more than that. It might be CFL levels of offensive scoring when you got 3 kids, including twins.
Yeah, you can't shut him down, you just try and contain him.
Completion underneath to Tim White, goes for 7. Collaros to the outside, and this one just slid a little bit over the side of the hand, intended for Nick Dembski, and Reggie Stubblefield right there.
Yeah, nice route by Nick Dembski. It's just a simple little quick out. Looking for a short gain. You see the footwork, and Dempsey gets that separation with Stubblefield trying to protect the inside. But couldn't quite pull that one in.
Send the punting unit out. Jamison Sheehan as he knocks it down to the 10-yard line. Caught by Isaiah Wooden of this 2026 campaign, but the Bombers giving up about 70 yards more this season than they did last year. There's obviously lots of time ahead, but when you're facing an offensive attack like this with a long field and the playbook is wide open, always a great challenge. Mitchell will begin under center. Turns around and hands it off as the Tiger Cats would love to run the football, Scott Milanovich has told us, Dwayne, but he says he'd like to do it under a very certain circumstance.
Exactly, trying to get a lead and keep that clock running, right? As Scott Milanovich and so many coaches refer to it as shortening the game, right? Reducing the number of plays, reducing the number of opportunities for the other team to get back in it. So the fast start, certainly something that every team looks for, but the Tiger Cats trying to make that part of their DNA, and it has certainly resonated the last couple of games.
Late substitution from the Tiger Cats after play was whistled in, and so the play clock rolls inside 3. They do get it off, and Mitchell looks left all the way. Kenny Lawler, and on top of it, it's Williams once again. He said that week 2 left a bad taste in his mouth when Bo Levi Mitchell went wild against this blue and gold defense. And Williams answers the call on that snap.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler appeared to be looking for a flag on this play. We'll get a look at the earlier part of the route here, but I certainly thought there was a good finish by Williams. I mean, maybe a split second early, but pretty good looking defensive play to me.
Scott Milanovich, flag in hand. Doesn't look like he'll pull the trigger on it, though, as Kenny Lawler with 75 straight games with a reception. Oh, now the flag does come out right before the snap came. It looked like Milanovich had fought off the idea of challenging. And at the last second,
Hamilton is Hamilton is challenging the previous play for pass interference. Play will be reviewed.
So Lawler already has a catch in this ballgame, obviously the touchdown. That extends his league-leading active streak of 75 straight games, but that one incomplete, targeting 89, and they'll take another look at it.
Yeah, and I think part of the consideration, you know, I think a lot of plays when you look at them in slow motion, the DB's going to get there early. Now, I think as much as the timing, the thing that probably leads Scott Milanovich to throw this flag and that could get Major Williams into trouble is that left arm around the waist. You know, and initially looking at it, you see the right arm come in and make a great play on the ball, but it's that sneaky left arm wrapping up the receiver that is going to be the crux of the debate here.
Well, the interesting part of this one as well to me is Milanovich was actually looking up at his team booth up here, talking into the headset, but actually communicating with them. It looked like he was yelling, "Should I? Guys, you got to let me know." And we have an answer on Milanovich's challenge.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Hamilton will be charged a timeout.
And again, you can make the argument that he's there a split second early, but I don't think you're making that argument without the benefit of slow motion replay. And you got to give a little bit of grace, if you will, to the defenders.
Now there was
on
one
split second
in Kelowna last night that looked very touch and go that was overturned
yes.
as well. So not exactly the same play, but interesting nonetheless. As Vavel stutter steps on the punt return, now gets the edge, turns the corner, and it will be finally wrapped up.
Why was Collaros invited to that in the first place? Well, he goes way back with Kelsey. The two were teammates at the University of Cincinnati. They were also roommates in college, so of course he got the invite. The two have stayed close for many years since then. He did joke, however, and say recently when he was talking to the couple, he said, you know, you could have checked the Bombers' schedule, guys. In all seriousness, he said that's what happens sometimes when you're a football player. You gotta stay committed to the job, and that's exactly what he did here. And guys up in the booth, if you were invited, would you have called in sick to this game?
Oh, Dwayne would have gone for sure. Yeah, he would have just bounced from the booth, and you know what?
Listen, I like Travis Kelce, but I'm going to admit flat out, I'm a bit of a Swiftie, bit of a closet Swiftie.
know what I love about that? At the end of that clip, if you saw the full thing, Zach said, you know what was actually disappointing is like, Trav came to all my stuff. He's like, he made time to come to my stuff, and I couldn't make time to go to his. So, which, by the way, I'm wondering what the connection is, because they must have had great times when they were roommates. There's only one career touchdown pass from Zach Collaros to Travis Kelce in 2011 at Miami of Ohio. So it's a memorable one, just one touchdown pass, but they stayed connected. Looks like Collaros and Dembski right there. Zach graduated in 2011, and Kelce had 8 touchdowns in 2012, in case you were wondering. So
here you see the Bombers' little pre-snap motion, trying to create some confusion for the defenders here. Set up a convoy in front of Nick Dembski. Pretty good pursuit to the football there. Not a surprise seeing one Winton McManus making the play out near the sideline.
Sergio Castillo donning the goggles with the career long of 63. This one well inside of that, and the first points on the board for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here on the road.
Well, this is it. We talked about the Ticats' desire and to try and get out to that fast start, make the opposition chase the game a little bit. It was really where the BC Lions got in trouble, as we said. I mean, you get in a hole early against this explosive Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. So, you know, you look at Winnipeg here getting a field goal before the end of the first quarter as, it's just a field goal, but it matters. Keep this game within reach in the early going.
They all add up. Top pass defense from Winnipeg, 264 yards per game, but the worst rushing defense so far, despite the fact Hamilton has only rushed once. They go back to the air this time. Keandre Smith, again, catching seemingly everything. And Levi Mitchell throws his way, as that one looks like it'll be a gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
Keandre Smith, 4th-round pick out of the University of Guelph in 2022. You've heard us talk many times about the outstanding 2022 receiver crop. Keandre Smith, I know, enjoys the competition with other guys from that class like Sam Emelis, Tyson, Jalen Philpott.
Mitchell over the top, stays aggressive, and in coverage. It was Isaiah Wooden, the return specialist. And they tried to spring a quick one that time, and going after, looks like the Hamilton native out of North Texas, 2nd-round pick last year, Jalen Smith in coverage.
And we've seen Hamilton over the years through different offensive coordinators, different head coaches. You think about Brandon Banks in his time here, started off as a returner, gradually got worked into the offense. Tyreek McAllister, they certainly created a little bit of a package for him offensively during his time here. Guy who is an outstanding returner now with Calgary, of course, and now you see Isaiah Wooden getting his shot on O.
McCarthy sends it down to Trey Vavel. Vavel wrapped up by the Tigers.